And we're live.
In the ends. Saying views from the six. This is views from the bricks. Was that too deep for the intro? Or should I reintroduce? Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Wherever you are, whatever time it is for you right now, just know that you are locked in until the point with
Skip.
And the king. You guys know where to find us by now. Go down there, click subscribe, click like, let us know what you think. Tonight we have a very special guest, the one and only, my man, the Prince of Scarborough, the one and only Jimmy Brickz, out there doing his thing, one of the great hip-hop artists of Toronto for the last God knows how many years. He ain't just singing nothing, crying in the shower and whatever. This is real Toronto hip-hop. Go check out Toronto State of Mind, dope track, one of my personal favorites. Oh, Jordan, it's a pleasure having you on the show. We appreciate having you on. Okay. Apparently you have something dropping today. And by the way, thanks for sending the track early because I enjoyed it. I already checked out the EP and everything. Dope. What can you tell the people out there what you got coming?
I got the Southside videos dropping today off of my Brick Tape EP. So that's going to be the third single that I released on my EP. And we got some more coming down the pipeline. But Southside is the one that's going to be coming out today. Very excited about it.
And we'll drop a link in the description for you guys down below if you check that out. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys make sure to go check that out. Okay, so Jordan, you already know the deal. You've seen us. I gotta ask you one question. You, as a young man that I know very well, I've seen you since you were a kid. I've seen you grow up into a mature, great young man with a successful career as a hip hop artist. And being from the city of Toronto, actually, Scarborough, I gotta ask you, back in the day when you got into the Raptors, just like Skip, I gotta ask you a question. There's one NBA player that was on the Toronto Raptors, and Vince Carter. How did he affect you in your life, the city of Toronto, and your career?
Oh man, like there's so much things I could say about that, but pretty much before him, I didn't even know it was possible to even make it out of here, to be honest. I mean, when Vince Carter was doing his thing and coming up, it was around, his peak was, I'd say, like 99, 2000, 2001. And during those times, I was only about 9 or 10 years old. So seeing that purple Toronto jersey in Oakland in front of all these stars and stuff was kind of like, oh, wow, like someone from here, even though I didn't know he wasn't from here because I was only like 9. So I assumed everyone that played for the Raptors was from Toronto at the time until I got wiser. It was just like, wow, someone from here could make it to that level and like actually, like it felt like we made it as a whole city. It felt like as a whole, like it felt like America knew who we were, knew what we were about, knew what our culture was. Just in that, what was it, like maybe an hour on a Saturday night, it kind of felt like we got elevated to a certain level of just excellence just based on like a performance like that alone. So yeah, man.
So how did it affect your career? Like really, because you've been putting in a lot of work and you've been doing a lot of stuff. I've been seeing you. Like, do you think that inspired you somehow? Based on like you just talked about like how he made it out, but do you take anything and internalize it that you utilize to get further in your career? Because you've been around the world so far. Touring.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the early days of Vince Carter were just kind of that developmental stage where he was developing into the person who he was in front of the spotlight. Like getting to see that firsthand was something that helped me a lot in understanding that if you're from Toronto, especially Toronto, I'm not sure other places because I'm not from there, but in Toronto, if you have something that's great and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, this is a city that will get behind you. This is a city that will champion people that are doing great things for the city. And we're very diehard when it comes to our fandom in certain aspects of things. So seeing that taught me, it correlated that to my career when I got older. It's like, all right, I need to follow those similar kind of footsteps, because you seen the downfall of it when he got injured and it kind of didn't really seem like he was all there for us. People turned their back on him, and that's just the aspect of our city. So I use that in my career. It's like, all right, don't turn your back on the people where you're from. Work hard every day, stay dedicated, and whether or not you fail or succeed, people will still support you as long as you seem like you're putting your all into your craft and your all into your art or whatever art field you may be in.
Yes, sir. Now, Skip, great, very well said. Very poignant, but then again, you are a wordsmith, so I'm not surprised. Now, to my fellow wordsmith over there, Simon, I got to ask you, what impact does Vince Carter's legacy have on the Raptors organization?
Right here. He made me a fan.
Maybe that's not okay.
Maybe that's not your question, but I definitely think he kind of
the trophy.
He defined basketball for a lot of people. Like, I was not a basketball fan. I was a baseball fan, and then I heard, like the Raptors have this like new hot prospect, Vince. Like, okay, cool. And then they make the playoffs. I start paying attention, and then that series with AI, I just started paying so much attention. I was all in. I was like. And I think that's what it was about. It was the drama of it that pulled people in. And I think Vince's legacy, his legacy's complicated. Let's put it that way, because I think he kind of made Toronto in a lot of ways, but I think he also broke Toronto in a lot of ways. I kind of see Vince as, if you look at the Raptors franchise as a person, as an organic living person, like a human being, I imagine like Vince is the high school girlfriend, like the high school girlfriend that broke your heart. And it's like you spent your whole life like recovering from that, and like that's sort of what defines the Raptors as a franchise, because they spent all this time recovering from this, and it's all like you got the scars, you're like worried when Kawhi comes, like, are you gonna leave me? And it becomes like this whole metaphor, right? Like, so I think that there's a lot there in terms of like him having just this huge impact on the franchise and on the city as a whole. And we will always remember Vince, but his legacy is really complicated, because you kind of think, what was he? Like, he was a star, but he wasn't really a winner necessarily. He was in the league for 20 years, never won a title, never really chased a ring, just kind of was happy to. And we go back to when he was with the Raptors, he was kind of, all the criticism was, you don't take winning seriously enough. Like, you're going to fly off to your high school graduation, you're going to not try. But if you look at his whole career, he kind of was that guy. He wasn't this guy who chased winning. He was a guy who just was happy to be living the life and being the man, being the star, being in the spotlight. So I think that's Vince's legacy on his own. That's a whole different thing than his legacy to the Raptors. I think his legacy to the Raptors is a lot more the first thing I said about the broken heart and the ex-girlfriend. But anyway, it's complicated. He's just, but you can't talk about the Raptors without talking about Vince. Like, he's just there.
Yeah, you can't talk about the Raps without Vince, Lowry, DeRozan. Anyway, no shots fired there at all. They're all gone. We've all been heartbroken. But me is not being not a Raptors fan. I am not heartbroken. I was just happy when the championship came. And I was happy to see the smile on your face, Kip. I was happy to see the smile on my mom's face. But when we do get into Vince Carter, what I gotta say is he's done something. He's done some things that are absolutely amazing. Like, to play in 4 separate decades.
Yeah.
Like, I've been watching ball in 5 separate decades, and I've seen him for 4 of those, which to me is absolutely amazing. Like, not to mention after like that slam dunk competition is over, right? With his cousin who he didn't know. Yeah, exactly. Where he didn't know it was his cousin until he joined the team at some cookout at the family's place down south. You know, he has some Raptors records, like franchise records, like for a season, most points in a game, for most points in a regular season game, most points in a playoff game. And not to mention, right after what happened, because a little birdie within the Raptors organization told me, the rift between him and the Raptors was because his mom showed up to every game, and she got to park downstairs at the ACC at the hangar. And apparently one day they said she can't park there. She got to park across the street. You know what I'm talking about, Jimmy, right? park right across the street, and that's like 20 something bucks right there.
Yeah.
And they forced her into that, and that's when he turned around and said, I can't jump. And then what did he do? He has what I have to say is the greatest in-game dunk of all time in the Olympics. When he went Afro Vince, and he jumped over that 7'2" guy, crushed his career, crushed his soul. Vince is on record saying that he feels bad because that guy got so much backlash. And you know what? I don't know if you know this, Jay, but on the Chronic 2001 album, Mailman, it was either Mailman or Hitman that said, I'll bang you like Vince Carter from the baseline. And based on that, now Vince brought that hip hop element. Vince used hip hop, and Vince Carter really brought that shine to Toronto because the world started taking notice, and especially the hip hop community. Yeah. And now you and I growing up, we've played against each other. We've played with each other. We've talked a lot of hip hop. I listen to your music. We talk music all the time. I make comparisons about you. Sometimes I tell you if I don't like something, but there is that correlation through hip hop and basketball. Now, I have to ask you your take on that. Like, how do you feel about this? Do you think they have a symbiotic relationship?
Yeah.
Or do you think it's just how we grew up?
Man, I think it's a bit of both, to be honest. I mean, two things could be true in certain instances at a time, right? I think it's part of the culture. I mean, when you grow up in inner cities or impoverished neighborhoods like that, most likely you're going to be listening to hip hop music, or that's what everyone around is going to be listening to. And like when you walk outside, there's a basketball court. It may not be the greatest basketball court in the world, but like that's usually where the place of convenience happens for everybody. So it's kind of like a synchronicity event where it's just kind of like inevitable. I mean, you fast forward to now, like some of the top, Damian Lillard is literally one of the best players in the league, and he's dropping hip hop albums, like actual real hip hop albums. So I think it's just something that's been ingrained in this culture and the society for like a long time, where it's just kind of it's a complete overlap of the two cultures, where they're almost like a subculture of each other, where you have hip hop artists are courtside at games, and then you see the next day you'll see a basketball player in the studio with a rapper, and like that I don't really see that across like other things. I don't really see a hockey player in the studio with a Rihanna or no things like that. You know what I mean? So it's a crazy overlap.
I think that'd probably be like a country album or something.
Yeah, I was about to say like McGraw or Taylor Swift or something. But go on, please.
But yeah, I mean, like the overlap of it, and it's been something that's happened even back in the older days. In the 90s, Shaquille O'Neal was dropping rap albums, Kobe was rapping, Allen Iverson was doing rap albums. So it's been something that has over time just become sort of one in one, to where now when you watch NBA games during their finals performances and halftimes, they have live rappers doing performances at the show, where there was a point where they didn't even want rap culture. After Iverson, they didn't even want rap culture involved in the NBA in any way. But they couldn't even stop it. They couldn't do nothing to stop it because it's just so overlapped. So I think there's a super direct correlation between the two, man.
Yeah, there's a huge juggernaut for that. And I want to ask you, like, especially one of the biggest things, the elephant in the room when it comes to the crossover between hip hop and basketball is the Jordan shoes. Sorry, did I say that? The Jordan shoes.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah.
Like, how many you got? How do you feel about that?
I personally don't really like Jordans like that, to be honest, because I find them very uncomfortable. For me myself personally, I'm more of like a boat shoe, Vans, runner shoes kind of guy. But I understand.
You've always been that way.
Yeah, always. Comfort over style, man. Comfort over style. But they've always been an integral part of like the community, because I mean, he was like the biggest star in the world, and every kid that was growing up say, yo, I want a pair of Jordans so I could feel like Mike, or whether it be because I want my friends to think I look cool, or whether it be like for whatever reason, even if you're not a basketball fan, non-basketball fans are wearing Jordans. It's like an integral part of the culture. Like, I don't think we'll ever see another athlete have such a big influence on fashion like that, like ever again.
Apparently, since that was a dude I don't really listen to, but Vince Staples has that song Blue Suede, and the whole song is about him getting a pair of Jordans, right?
Yeah.
The other thing too is also when it comes to the language, like are talking nowadays, like we say things like "and one," the mixtape that had a big thing with hip hop and basketball. Then, not to mention the other thing where everyone wants to talk about it, and all the big time rappers say it: ballin', right? Right? Yeah, exactly, right? Because you want to make that money like an NBA player, because you're coming up, like you said, you're coming up from inner city neighborhoods, you're coming from impoverished neighborhoods, and that's all you see. It's like, in the words of Biggie Smalls, can you tell me?
You either sling and crack rock or you got a wicked jump shot.
Bingo. That's what I'm talking about, my man. Oh, man, this has been so good. I think we could talk so much more about this, Jordan.
That's a deep topic.
That is a deep talk. Next time I see you at my cousin's, we'll talk about that. But and he's going to get into it, and he's going to take like 30 minutes talking about it. You know how that man rolls. Okay, so let's get into some trivia. I got some trivia here for you, Jordan. Okay, I got a couple hip hop quotes, and I think you have a couple for me.
Oh, I got some.
Now, I want to hear, but before we get into that, I want to hear. You have a couple hip-hop quotes that you wanted to run by me that I don't hear because I don't listen to that like that Wayne, that Drake, that I don't listen to all that, right? But apparently you know some of that. So do you want to school us on a couple of these hip-hop quotes that correlate with basketball?
I mean, there's so much I could go down the list. I mean, Drake once said, when you make it to the rap game, I can't remember the exact quote. He said, when you get to the rap game and you face your idols, you basically have to Iverson them. So it was in reference to when Allen Iverson crossed over Michael Jordan in his rookie season. And that's when Michael Jordan was like in his prime, and Allen Iverson was this new flashy rookie, and Iverson crossed him over, and everyone was like, oh wow, it's a new reign. So Drake had alluded to that in a rap, saying basically when he got to the rap game, I know. When he got to the rap game, he basically had to do that to his idols in order for him to gain the respect of his idols. It was like things like that. And even J. Cole, he said, I'm on the plane and she thinks I'm in the NBA, but I'm really focused on getting my MBA, like my master's bachelor arts degree. Yeah. But like, just because I'm a 6 foot tall black guy, they're going to see me and automatically say, oh, you must play basketball. You know, like it's not something that could be escaped in realms like that. So those are like two of the things that I could think of that really stuck with me.
I can't believe that we went through that hip hop and basketball culture segment and you didn't get into Drake. Come on, Brian.
You know what? I can. You know I do my research, right? So even with his quote about you wasn't shooting with me in the gym, referencing Kobe.
Yep.
That cuts deep. Okay. Yeah. But then again, we also know the classic one. Last week, around and got a triple-double.
Ice Cube. I mean,
yes,
go down the list.
It was a good,
Lil Wayne.
It was a good
Lil Wayne had even said, yeah, very good one. Because I mean, that goes back to the direct correlation we were saying, where that's just something he said that like, oh, I just did this on the side for 2 minutes and went back to what I was doing. So it's almost like you can't escape even getting into a little pickup game while you're on the way to go do something, you know?
Like every true baller, we all know you wear the baller shorts underneath. I got mine underneath my suit right now. So Jay, I ain't lying. So Jay, I got one for you. Which rapper said this? Like KD ain't no that could shoot like me.
J. Cole. Like KD ain't no that could shoot like me. Yeah, yes, that was on Tale of Two Cities. No, Fire Squad. J. Cole Fire Squad.
Yep.
Yeah.
Didn't J. Cole try out? Didn't he try out or something?
Yeah,
he played in China recently.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, he actually played in Africa. My bad. He played in Africa recently.
Because he was crushing the celebrity game, right? And then,
he was destroying it. And that's another thing with hip hop. Look at him and look at what's his name from Migos, Quavo.
Yeah.
Those cats can ball. Look at 2 Chainz. 2 Chainz can
ball.
I don't like him.
Yeah.
Right? These guys can ball, right? So it is part of the life. So I have another one for you. I hope you get this one. If not, I'm gonna be mad disappointed in you. We want to be winning. We want to be Jordan. We're tired of being Pippen.
That's me.
And guys,
like, yo, who was
Toronto State of Mind.
Yeah, that was me. That was that was our Toronto State of Mind. That was me.
Yeah, that was our Toronto State of Mind. Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, I got another one for you. I'm MJ with the fadeaway. I'm 23 with the 45. That will push your memories to the side.
That's me. That's me again. Old English. Old English. That's me on Old English. Yeah.
On Old English. That was dope, bro. There's so many other things. Like, even if we look at little things like White Iverson, you know, like all these songs. There's so much that we can get into, right? But Jimmy Brickz, it's been nothing but a pleasure of having you. Say views from the six. This is views from the bricks right now. Really ain't to the point.
Yes, sir. I mean, that's where I'm from, man. I don't live downtown. I don't live in Toronto, so I can't have the same viewpoint as someone that would, you know.
And you know, I spent half my life out at your ends, so I already feel you on all this. And by the way, in that one Scarborough track, make sure you guys go check that out. A couple months ago, me and my cousin, we went to that store where you filmed it.
Oh yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
I even asked him while we were there. I was like, "Yo, is this where Jimmy B did the video?"
Yeah.
And he was like, "Yeah, bro."
That's crazy. Right. That's actually the area I grew up in, man. That's dope.
Yeah, that is dope. You know, what you have to do a Sunday pick. But it's been nothing but a pleasure having you on. You guys make sure go check out Jimmy B. What's the name of the track?
New track dropping has dropped. Southside.
What's the name of the EP?
The Brick Tape is out right now on all streaming platforms: Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, YouTube. Anywhere you listen to music, the Brick Tape is out now. Jimmy Brickz.
All right. It's been nothing but a pleasure of having you on, my man, Skip. You guys know where to find Simon Broder at Dougie J's. If you love anything about basketball, baseball, make sure you go check him out right now. It's hot for him. He's losing his mind. I'm seeing the messages. SimonBroder.com, Running the Point. Go buy it on Amazon.ca. You guys know where to find me, King Hussein, on all social media platforms. You guys know where to find us, YouTube.com/ToThePointPodcast, Twitter, To The Point Raps, and on Facebook and Instagram, To The Point. On behalf of myself, Skip, and the one and only Jimmy Brickz.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, good night, good evening, good night, and peace. And Jimmy.
Yes, sir.
Next time you come by, my mom's got a plate for you.
Thank God. I need one of those, man. Haven't had a hot meal in a minute.
All
right. Peace.
Peace.